Hello everyone, Happy New Year and welcome along to the SUTV show. In a moment, Carl and I will of course be looking ahead to this weekend's FA Cup third round tie at Gillingham. But first of all, Carl, let's reflect on the last game, a tough one at Manchester City, the world champions.
Yeah.
It was never going to be easy.
Well, when they paraded the 5 cups, I just thought, oh, here we go. You know, banners coming down. It was everything we knew it was going to be. Just wonderful. The team that they put out was with full respect to us. I knew we were going to be there and put up a fight. And for me, I left a little bit deflated because of how good our shape had been and how we stifled them. You know, the goal that we gave away, I just felt could have been the first one, could have been stopped at source a lot earlier. And we could have made it a really much more difficult afternoon in result-wise than it was. But at the end of the day, they're just the best.
Yeah, they're just too good for everybody at the moment. But there were good moments, weren't there?
There were lots of good moments.
Sheffield United, especially in that first half.
Yeah, Will Osula again led the line. You know, he's playing against such a tough defence. The moments he got the ball are far and few between. But we saw again another 2 good chances. This boy causes problems. He got a great delivery from, I think it was Jaden Bogle from the right, where unfortunately he's come onto it and he didn't get as good a connection and it got blocked. But it was a really good opportunity. And then from a resulting corner, he got a good connection again, headed towards the far post. So the boy's growing in stature. His interview after the match, he's full of self-belief and he's loving the players around him. He's a full respect of what they're doing around him.
That's the thing, he's still searching for his first goal, isn't he? But his attitude seems to be spot on. If he misses a chance or it doesn't run his way, his head doesn't go, does it? He just keeps going.
Well, that was how I felt. You know, if you were getting into the scoring opportunities and you weren't taking them, it's something you can work on. It's when you're not getting into those positions. And let's face it, he's getting into the positions against Liverpool, against Man United, against Man City. So of course his confidence, he's got to, you know. His coaches he'll be working with will be so excited with what he's doing. And once the first goes in, you know, he's just going to go on a massive run.
Chris has said himself that, you know, he feels that there should be more points on the board from the games that he's had already. But the big difference to me is they are in games, every game, you know, and that's got to give you belief, hasn't it, going into 2024?
Yeah, it's a completely different mindset from how I'm seeing the team. You know, I loved watching Hecky's team. It was an attacking team, and they had some great moments. But it was either all or nothing. You were either going to batter a team or you're going to be battered. This team has a resilience which I can link to because that's where my successful teams. We had a resilience. We were never beaten until we were beaten. And if you did beat us, like in the biggest match of all for me was the Wolves match. They outfought us and outplayed us, but they had to do both parts. It wasn't just you can get away. This team that Chris Wilder's, he's energised them. And everyone knows, you know, that's Man City had to keep going. They kept pushing them, They were trying to get the third because this team weren't going to give up. So we've seen it. Obviously, there was the disappointment of the Luton match, but there's a tenacity in this team which is exciting going forward now.
Norrington-Davies back on the pitch at Manchester City, albeit for a few minutes towards the end. How big do you think his return could be? Because let's not forget, before he got injured, he was absolutely flying, wasn't he?
He was the hungriest I've ever seen him. He looked like a man possessed. You know, I know it was his World Cup year, but he was playing out of his skin. No header was won easily against him. He won almost all his headers. He was a real physical presence. He was good on the ball. He really did incredible. So we've got to keep our own expectations of him under control as well because he could be a key player again, but we've got to give him time to build his way back into the levels. You know, the manager's saying he may introduce some players and to get some minutes, but we've got to take it easy with Reece because he is going to be brilliant again and just don't put too much pressure on him, but it's great to see him.
And do you have any hopes for January? It's difficult to name names because things change by the hour, you know, during the transfer window, but in terms of the squad, what do you feel it might need?
I feel it needs a few players. It needs bolstering, but it's, you know, my opinion of what I think we need is completely irrelevant. The manager We know the manager thinks it needs refreshing. We've heard talk of players coming in, there's talk of players going out. But what I am confident in is the team and the squad that we're left with going on to February the 1st is going to be better suited for what we have ahead of us. And I'm talking this season. This Premiership season's not discounted. It's not, oh, let's focus on next season in the champ. No way. This season is there still to be got. You've seen the makeup of the team now, the hunger in the team. You've got a number of players out of contract in the summer who they've got to perform to earn their next positions. You've got a manager who wants to win and a crowd base that wants to challenge and to fight. So February the 1st, I think we're going to have a proper fighting chance and a fighting team.
Well, here we go. Let's hear from the manager, Chris Wilder, who's been talking to us ahead of this FA Cup third round tie at Gillingham. Chris, first of all, how have preparations been since the Manchester City game as you gear up for the third round of the FA Cup?
Yeah, we had a big chat after the game. I thought it was important that we reflected on the period that we've been here, the short period as well, and keeping the players' spirits high. I mean, it was obviously a disappointing afternoon in terms of result. As I talked about, that we're playing an incredible team. You know, those 5 trophies that were staring us all in the face as we walked out are not given. They're there for a reason. Whether it's length of time, whether it's work with the players, and it's football at the highest level. And from our point of view as a manager, we didn't have a lot to choose from, and the players yet again stuck together, stuck to a plan which we have to have. And I understand that. I understand. Some supporters, maybe even the most critical of supporters, talking about, come on, let's go and get after them. It really is a struggle to go and get after a team like that because they can open you up, and Carl will know that. You have to pick your moments, and if we do get those moments, we have to take them. We didn't, but we're really looking forward to the second part of the season. I knew when I came into the job it would be a tough ask, but one that I'm personally really enjoying. My staff are. And hopefully you've seen that in the players' performances, and we need to kick on. It's a big second part of the season. We understand that.
How was it because we all know you kept a close eye on the team when you were away. Did any of the players, did you have preconceptions of some of the players which have turned out wrong, where you thought, oh, I don't fancy him, he's not right, without naming names, obviously, who have actually, you thought, oh, actually, I want to get into him, he can...
I think there's a couple that, the 2 young boys have been fabulous for us. I thought Will Osula on Saturday
yet against Man City. Every team he plays against, he gets an opportunity.
Yeah, and he was a lone rider up there for us on Saturday. But it's brilliant experience for him, playing against the likes of Van Dijk, going to Chelsea. Playing in the games that he's played for us. And yet again another great experience for him that'll make him a better player, and we're delighted with the 2 young boys. There's a couple of the boys. Anis has done well, got an opportunity to come on the pitch against Brentford and was really good, did a great job for us defensively in the shape at Villa. But as you know, Carl, it's such a tough learning school to learn on the job as well. But no, I knew what the older boys were going to be like, the Jack Robinsons, the George Baldocks of the world. Ozzy's playing in there, Norwood has been part of the group as well. But it's, we have to quickly find out about these players that I don't know too much about. And all of them have been given that little bit of an opportunity to impress in training just as much as they have in matches.
It's been such a whirlwind though, hasn't it? You've not had much time.
No.
On the training ground. So how much credit do the players take for putting into action what you've asked of them at this early stage?
I said all along, Paul, about the attitude of the players have been given a really good group in terms of attitude towards what we're trying to do and their acceptance. And time has been precious, and we've not had a lot of that. And you're recovering, and then you've got players that have not been able to get out and train with you because they're recovering and they're looking after minor injuries as well. So, I'm caught in between a little bit because we really do need the time, and we will have that time in the second part of the season. But the biggest thing is Saturday or Tuesday or whatever weird and wonderful day we play on, is to make sure those players are available for selection. And so it's been a bit of a balancing act and a juggling act, but the attitude of the players has been great. A different approach that every manager who comes into a new job will give to the players and a different voice. And as I said, I've really enjoyed working with the players, and I think there's a lot more to come in the second part of the season.
And obviously, transfer window is now open. Not asking you to name names here, but overall, as a manager, is it a month that you enjoy? I think I know what the answer might be. You know, you're training, you're playing matches, and then your phone's going off 10 to the dozen. I'm imagining at the moment.
It's just the chaos of being a football manager that I've missed and that I love, and I adore it. It's been part of my life for a long time. You get used to it. So decisions that you have to make, you know, I'm a pussycat at home because I can't make a decision. Decisions get made for me all over the place, as I imagine every household that's the same. But we have to be bold and brave with our decisions, whether we're team selection, whether it's players that we think could take us forward, whether it's players that we feel that can't take us forward. So it's part and parcel of the job. It's 24/7. It's not like any other business, not like any other job. And the chaos is the big thing, that anything can happen at any time. And as you know, at this club, it usually does.
Yeah, that's very true.
How's the focus now? Because I've always said the biggest side of football for me is mental. 80% is mentality. So you've gone from playing the greatest team in Europe, where you're the heavy underdogs. Now you're going to a cup match where you're a couple of divisions above. You're the bit. How is it to turn the boys' mentality straight around?
I've got to say, Carl, I love these types of games because, you know, and I've said that before, and my team will be judged on their mentality on Saturday afternoon. And they've been left in no uncertain terms what I'm expecting from individuals, from a team performance. You know, we've not won many games this season. It's a great opportunity for us to go and win a game of football. You know, we have to get back into that habit and hopefully take that forward into our league campaign. Understand and full respect of the challenge that's ahead, and you obviously you know that ground and that football club, and we'll be there, and everybody will be there, and Ian Dennis from BBC Radio 5 Live, he'll be there because he's already told me, because they think that's going to be a cup upset, and they all will. They'll all think that this is an opportunity for a League Two club to knock out a Premier League club, and I'm used to this. I've been on both sides, and I'm used to this. And these are really the tests that really define you, in my opinion, as a player and as a team.
So do you read a lot from your players, how they act in these circumstances? These are where they.
This is an opportunity for them to impress, and an opportunity to get on board if they want to be part of what's going forward. What's happening in the medium and long term, because I expect us to go and put a performance on, to be committed, to be respectful of the opposition, to be competitive, and to play under that pressure of being the team that should win. And I'm looking forward to seeing the team go out and do that, and hopefully the supporters will see that too.
And you're back at the scene of your first ever away win as Sheffield United manager, a season that didn't start too well, but it was around that time when things just began to click for you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, we had a difficult start to the season. We understand that. So, you know, I've said all along, you know, it's not all. There's been a lot of good things on the journey since 2016, but the start wasn't the best, and we were all under it a little bit there. But yet again, you know, the manner of that victory, you know, the week before, I was just saying to Carl, you know, where Jack O'Connell punches one in his area and they stick a last-minute winner against us, and roles reversed on the week afterwards. So 2 weeks afterwards, we got our first win, and it got us up and running, and away we went. So confidence is a big thing, and hopefully we can gain some confidence by putting a really solid, professional, disciplined, front-footed performance in on Saturday afternoon.
And this debate comes around every year about the FA Cup, whether it's lost its magic, yada, yada, yada. What school of thought are you in terms of the FA Cup and how prestigious this competition is?
I think you know from my approach to everything, whether it's a pre-season friendly, whether it's a behind closed doors game, whether it's a league game, a League Cup game, there's an opportunity to go and win a game of football, and you can't just switch on and off. For me, it's big. You know, one of my previous clubs, we had a fabulous experience going to Old Trafford in front of 79,000, 80,000, and winning a home game. against Tottenham Hotspur. You know, you saw the cup run from Sheffield United last year.
Yep.
How good that was as well. You know, the early part, you know, where you have to overcome some really tricky and difficult ties. Obviously, the Wrexham one that comes to mind, and then that allows you to go and take on the Tottenhams and allows you to go and get to Wembley. So this is a huge game in our fixture list for me, as we talked about, looking at the players and their attitudes and how they approach it, and the ability to go and win a game of football for our supporters and to progress into the next round. And we'll be full tilt, all at it on Saturday afternoon.
And squad health getting better. We saw Norrington-Davies. Nice to see him get back on the grass again. Overall, how are you looking?
There's a couple that you know that are 50-50 that I don't believe we will take risks on, and I do believe, you know, the majority of Sheffield United supporters will accept that there's some huge games coming up in the Premier League, but it won't be 11 changes. It'll be a stronger team as I can put out there on Saturday afternoon, because we have to get back into that rhythm of playing well, having the ball, because you didn't have it a lot at Man City, enjoying the ball and being positive in our approach. So the players that have that opportunity of going out there on Saturday afternoon to go and nail a place down for the upcoming Premier League games.
Just one last thing. Since you've been back, how are you finding the training facilities? Because I know a lot of money was spent. Is it making it better for the first team to train?
Yeah, the pitches are fabulous, and you know there's been work ongoing right the way through, and it has to be that. It has to evolve and has to keep moving forward, and everybody understands that. And you know, there's no excuses from anybody. There's no excuses from the players. The money that's been invested onto the pitches, they're absolutely first class. You know, listen, we'd all like it to be all singing, all dancing, but we're not at that stage at the moment. But that's not an excuse. We have to get on with it and making sure we get the maximum out of the training facilities. One part of obviously the training facility that I can incredibly recommend is the restaurant. It's absolutely first class.
Is it open now for us to go and have a little try?
It's open now, so go and have a 3-course meal on my behalf. I'll pick the tab up.
Chris, thanks very much indeed for your time. We'll see you at Gillingham
Cheers.
at the weekend. Thank you very much. There you go. That's the gaffer, Chris Wilder. Let's now hear from Sheffield United's Player of the Month, James McAtee.
Congratulations, James. You have been voted Player of the Month for December. How does it feel to win the award?
Yeah, I'm glad I won it. And there was some, like Bogues. I think Bogues had a very good month, and he's unlucky not to win it as well.
And was the Brentford game the highlight for you in December?
Yeah, definitely. I got my first Premier League goal, so it was a special one.
And how does that Brentford goal compare to any of your other ones?
Well, it was my first goal in the Prem, so that was obviously a good moment. And then I've not really scored a long-distance goal in my professional career, so yeah, it was good to get one from distance.
Thanks, James. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So the magic of the FA Cup is upon us, and Sheffield United head to Priestfield this weekend, a place that Carl knows particularly well. It's a banana skin, you know, a struggling Premier League side going to a League Two club, but on the other hand, if you spin it round, it's an opportunity, isn't it, for Sheffield United to re-energise themselves in this push for survival?
It's a tricky place to go, new ownership. The players have got a new manager as well, and they're responding to them. And, you know, I know myself, the atmosphere there can be incredibly hostile, and it's a tricky place to go. But we're a Premiership club. These players are Premiership players. The manager, you know, for me, his mentality is perfect. It's, well, you go out and you win a match. The manager's going to learn a lot about his players' mentality in this game. And as I said earlier, there's a lot of players out of contract. You want to prove to this man that my mentality is right. I'm not taking anything for granted. I'm not just going to think I have to turn up and I'm a better player. The manager wants to see them do it, and the players have got to perform. It's going to be a really good encounter.
I was going to ask you whether this is a welcome distraction from Premier League football, but can you put it like that? Because the pressure is still there on Sheffield United to do a job, isn't it?
It's massive pressure. Last year I was vocal in saying, look, let's focus. I didn't want the FA Cup run to derail what was important, which was the promotion push. This year is completely different in that, well, as the manager said, we haven't won many games. You've got a chance to win a match. It's going to be tough, but you've got a good chance. So the pressure's huge because you are expected to win, but you're supposed to be in a Premiership club. You're supposed to be that good. So if you play your mental side and your technique and your physical side, you should overcome these. So this is a brilliant match that the players can say, this is me, this is me, I can do it, I'm mentally right, I'm physically right, and I've still got the technique. So it's a great opportunity. I'd be, if I'm in this dressing room, I'd be desperate to be playing. I wouldn't want to be one of these players who's rested. Or I want to play and get your confidence up and show what you can do.
He's already said he's not going to make sweeping changes, so that gives you an indication as to how seriously the manager is treating this competition. He'll expect the same from his players, won't he?
Yeah, of course, because the downside, if you do lose this match, it's not like losing away at Man City where they are, Gillingham haven't got 5 cups in the tea cupboard, let alone the 5 ones that, we've just been paraded. It's a completely different kettle of fish. So you're there to win the match. The pressure's there, but that's what you're paid to do. You're paid to be a Premiership player. You take the pressure, you put in the performance. And if you put in the performance, unless it's a one in a million day for Gillingham, you should overcome them. But you have to do your side.
Just a quick word on them and what do you know about them and how they're going this season. Obviously, Stephen Clement has gone in. Bit of a surprise when Neil Harris was moved aside, but he seems to be getting a tune out of them, doesn't he?
He's getting a tune out of them. As I say, the ownership, Brad and Shannon, they're really hands-on, and the club's going in the right direction. The fan base is the scary bit for me. The players, I'm not, they're good players, they're decent players, but they're there to work their way up the league. We've got Premiership players who, if we all play at our level, should overcome them. The atmosphere at Priestfield can be really hostile, and that's what the club the boys are going to have to take into account. But they played in hostile situations. But yeah, it's going to be a tricky one.
Fingers crossed. Well, that's about it from myself and Carl on the SUTV show this week. But do not forget to tune into the SUTV podcast show, which you can get on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Well, we'll be talking even more about Gillingham ahead of the preview show. But from all of us here, it's bye for now.